Cassidy turned her mic off. Actually, Cassidy, I'm going to put you on mute if you don't mind. And sometimes, as you know, it's easier to explain things all at once than trying to email it or put it somewhere where you guys have to read it. I know that can be a pain. The great part about online learning is that you can do it at your own pace and at your own time. The hard part is the way we all receive information is different. So tonight, what I'd like to do, start out by talking about group projects. This is kind of a big thing actually in this class. So I want to talk about group projects, then I want to give a review, and then after that, if you want, I'd like to give you sample questions so for the exam, so you see kind of how it is worded, the format, and stuff like that. So at any point in time, please feel free to raise your hand if you would like to ask a question, and that's if you want to turn on your mic. If you just want to ask a question at any time, do so in the chat. But please feel free to use your mic if you want. So here we go, group projects. You're probably going, this is not what I wanted to do. And I get that. I definitely understand that. So let me kind of give you the idea. Now, I got to preface this. I made this presentation in a different format. I had to export it last minute to a different PowerPoint program because this Adobe Connect would only take certain programs. I didn't realize that before, so I don't know how this is going to look. That's just letting you know. All right, so here we go. The first one. Yeah, it's not how I intended it, but it still reads it right. So basically, group projects, the idea is mass information can be divided up, especially when you have these readings, and sometimes, you can't dive into it to read every little thing. Group projects are really big in graduate school, law school. You can't really get by without doing this type of thing where you kind of divide up the material and discuss it. That's kind of one of the best ways to learn mass information. And then also too, I don't know why it's doing that, but information can be best learned when you teach it. Hence, that's part of the BYU Idaho model, basically when we want you guys to try to teach each other. So that's also part of it as well. Okay, so let's go through really quickly before I talk about what these are commonly asked questions, because this is kind of, actually let's do this. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go and we're going to look at how it's going to look for you guys come lesson 03. So from lesson 03 to lesson 12, you're going to be in your groups, and it's going to be the same group unless something happens, but it's the same group the whole semester. And each week you will have what is known as a group project. So I'm going to share my computer so you can see the screen, and we're going to go into Desire to Learn. I'm going to have to do this really quick. All right, and I'm going to have to share my other computer just because it makes it easier. So as I'm going, are there any questions so far? Or even though it's not like I've given you a whole lot of information. All right. Okay, so hopefully you can all see my screen. Obviously, I'm in Desire to Learn right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to access, for next week, kind of walk this through this with you. So here, I'm going to go ahead and go to content so that we can look at lesson 03. From lesson 03, which is where the group projects begin, we're going to touch on that. I'm going to go down, and really it's going to be where it says Wigio. That's actually where you're going to go to your groups. But anyways, we'll go to teach one another because the assignment should be in there. Okay, so here it is. So it's kind of going to be known as your gathering activity. So work together, blah, 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 a bunch of stuff. No one reads, but that's okay. And then you're really going to get down to where it says discussion questions. Okay. And this is what you have to do as a group. And this deals with the Lesson 03 readings. So the readings that you will have, you're going to read it, and then these are the questions from those readings that you as a group will do and will somehow put together. And as you'll see here, you're going to be assigned a group leader each week. So there's no trying to figure out who's in charge or how do we do this. So there's a group leader. I will tell you who's the group leader. I'll put you in groups, and then I'll tell you each week who's the group leader for that week. And the group leader is the one who's primarily in charge of figuring out, how to distribute this. And also they're the ones who will fill out the worksheet, and they will fill out what's also known as the peer assessment worksheet. So, and again, that rates them. So as you see coming down here, it's the grading rubric. So as the group leader, you are going to give the other people in your group a grade. So the grade total for this group project is 20 points. 10 points come from the group leader. And that doesn't mean it's not subject to change by me. I have not done that very much at all. I usually stick to what the group leader says, unless I know something of something. So anyways, but the other 10 points come from me on how I grade your project itself. And so this is what your group leader is going to look at. They're going to look at, you get 10 points if the student substantially participates and brings several well-crafted ideas and has prepared well. So then it's determined by the group leader. Okay, so going back, I want to go back to, does someone have a question? Hey, Shad. As you can see right here, I've now put, so when the group leader goes to submit your work, which is going to be right here, the LO3 group submission, there is a worksheet. So in order to submit your work, you need to fill out this worksheet. Let me see if it'll even show you it from here. No, it just covers it up. Okay, let me do this. Because my share screen won't necessarily show you that. Okay, so, but really this worksheet, all it is it just, you fill in your answers there, and that's what you use to submit. And here is my grading rubric of how I'm going to grade that. So unfortunately, let's say your group leader puts it in not the way that you would like, and he didn't use correct grammar. Well, then I dock it for everybody in the group. So that's kind of why this is a group project and why we should all stay away from communism, right? No, of course, that's a joke. But anyway, so that's kind of the idea behind how it's graded, where you're going to go to submit it, and the peer assessment. Now, I'm sure you still might have like a ton of questions. So I think maybe the best way to proceed with that is to go to kind of commonly asked questions, and then we'll kind of go from there if you have questions beyond that. So here's kind of the first question. How do we complete the assignment? And that really is, it is up to you and how your group leader wants to get it accomplished, just as long as you can answer all the questions. Okay, I probably took that down from my share screen too quickly, because really the other thing I want to show you now that I'm talking about it is where you're going to go to meet as groups. So I'm going to go share my computer again. And of course, feel free to ask questions at any time. All right, so here we're back here. So you see this little weird Wigio. That's actually where you will go to work in groups instead of a discussion board. This is kind of the new thing. And you're going to be getting an invitation from me to do it. I've actually started to set up the groups. So here's like group 1. There's nobody in it because I still have to form it, and I'm going to be adding members. And then you're going to get an email from me saying, come join this group. And you and the other people in this group will have this space, to yourself. to start a conversation. Here's where you can set up a meeting. You have a poll, other messages, do a calendar event. I actually think it's pretty cool. So this is the first time we'll be using this. You guys, of course, will be piloting this as well. So please feel free to give me feedback at any time so I know how you guys are doing while working in this. But here basically is where you try to go and collaborate to try to figure it out. So before I leave this screen, are there any questions about Wigio? And you know what, you'll even see it kind of at the top of your desire to learn. I'm sure, I'm pretty sure you have it, right? Where it just is up there and it says Wigio. I don't think it's just showing on mine on the teacher mode. It might, also be on the student mode. Okay, you have it. Okay, good, Kate. So yeah, it does have it. So that's kind of how you can access it, as well. It's pretty easy that way. I think it's pretty cool. All right, so that might be an easier way for you guys to get together as groups. Okay, so next kind of commonly asked question, who turns in the assignment? Now, as you know, I probably have already said this, but only your group leader. It's going to feel odd for you that you're going to have a due date come up, and it's going to come up on your calendar as you have an assignment due, but you're actually not turning anything in if you're not the group leader. So some weeks you literally might turn in like one main assignment. You'll have your, well, I'll get to that because that's the other question too. So basically, if you're not the group leader, you do not have to worry about turning in the group project or the peer assessment. So this next one, what is the responsibility of the group leader? So the group leader kind of does the following: brings everyone together somehow, discuss the assignment and how to complete it, turn in the assignment in the Dropbox, and give an evaluation of peers on peer assessment. And then another question, if I am not a group leader, what assignments will I have to worry about submitting? And here they are. Journal entry. If there is one that week, you'll have a journal entry usually when you don't have an exam. So like this week, you're having an exam. This week's kind of like a unique week, but moving forward after this with group projects, when you have an exam, you don't have a journal entry. When you don't have an exam, you will have a journal entry. And then a self-assessment and lesson evaluation. And really, other than that, those are your main homework assignments each week. And then the next one, if I do not hear something from my group leader, what should I do? Well, you can contact the other members in your group. You can try to still work as a group and then email me to let me know what you have decided to do as a group. Unfortunately, the excuse can't be, I haven't heard from him, and then you don't turn anything in. I then, even though it's probably not your fault, it's a group assignment. And so I have to kind of go according to those, rules, and then you will not get credit, which I would not want that. Can I still turn in the assignment on my own? And you probably kind of know the answer to this one. No, I will not accept work done by an individual unless you and I have made an arrangement for that week. So it's not totally unreasonable, to not be able to get it all done. But that's kind of, the idea behind that. So I want to give you a little bit of a suggestion, an outlook of your week, just so that you can see what it kind of looks like. Okay, so here's kind of your normal work week. So again, didn't quite translate over the way I'd hoped. So assignments are due Monday, always due Monday. So let's just play it out like, the Monday that's coming up here. Well, Tuesday, maybe you make contact with your group, because again, as of tonight, you'll be able to see lesson 03. That doesn't mean you're going to want to do it, because of course you still have to take the exam. The exam, I believe, opens up tonight as well. So I'm sure you won't even be done with lesson 02, and you don't want to think about lesson 03, which I totally get it. But maybe, on Tuesday, you try to make contact with your group. And then on Wednesday, you read the lesson 03 readings. You can't answer the questions unless you've read those readings. So that's kind of the key about it might not be a good idea to meet before you have read the readings. And then, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, try to find a way to meet if that's possible. Again, I think it's better for you if you guys had a discussion. I get it that might not be possible for a lot of these groups. So you just do the best you can. And maybe your discussion is not live, but happens on your chat in Wigio. And then, of course, the next week kind of follow suit. Now, the good part about being in the same group the whole semester is that you guys can get into a rhythm, so that some of this is very easy and you won't have to talk. You can just say, hey, we'll meet up on this day after we've read blah, blah, blah. I don't know, but I do know that that can be the advantage. So that's kind of a brief overview of groups. If you don't understand everything, that's fine. It will come as you walk through it the first week. I'm pretty forgiving on the first week, lesson 03, because it's confusing and you're trying to coordinate schedules. And so I do understand. I do think Wigio might make it easier in that regard of contacting each other. So that's kind of a place where one can't say, I didn't get the email. That forum should really help you guys to be able to talk freely and quickly. So before I move on, what do you guys think? How do you guys feel about that? Pretty good. Good, Alexi. It seems simple enough. Sounds like a good idea. Nice, Buzz. Okay, you think it's good. Now, I gotta say, last semester, I had a couple of people say, hey, do you know how many people? Kate, that's a great question. Usually, because of the number of the class, I want to make it small, so I don't try to put more than 5. Ideally for me, 4 is the right number, but we're looking at 4 to 5. And last semester I had a group say, hey, I live near, they were in the Idaho area, Boise, and they say, hey, I live near these other people. Can I be in the same group? And I said, okay, sure, I can do that. And it worked out fantastic. They had a great time because they actually did meet on a weekly basis together. And I thought that was really awesome. And actually their work was the best work that was submitted. It works in my other classes. So, oh, good, Sean. I'm glad to hear that. So if you have suggestions I'm open to suggestions of what kind of group you would want to be in, especially if you live close to people. And so yeah, but I know, see, Ray, I was actually thinking about that. I thought it's up to you two, because I do think that would make for good conversation. But at the same time, if you wanted to do different work, I get that too. But I'm open to that. Buzz and Ray are married, so it helps if we're in the same time zone. It does, Kate. It's always not possible. The classes we have taken together, we really do well. Oh yeah, I bet, Buzz. I would. That would be the same for me. I think it would be cool to be in a group with people. Yes, I agree, Alexi. This is the problem. I don't always know who's in Rexburg. If you know people, then I agree, I'm in Rexburg. Okay, so if you know people who are in Rexburg, maybe I should send out a poll almost. You're in Rexburg too, I am too. Okay, well, we have to keep this chat so I can see all the people in Rexburg. But that's a good point, and I agree with you. You're in Colorado. Oh, Sean. Oh, no, it's a great state. I will see if I can send out a poll to see where people live, and then I'll go from there. But again, if you have suggestions, go ahead and email me on who you know is in your area, and then, we'll go from there, because I'm going to form the groups and I'm going to try to send the email out literally on Sunday. I know we're not supposed to do, whatever. Sunday or a Monday night, or Monday, not Monday night, but probably Monday. Because I want to give you guys some time. So, yeah. All right. So I appreciate you guys letting me know that. So we're going to go ahead and switch now over